And a very warm welcome back again to the streaming school. I hope you're all well. I hope everything's okay. And we're really, really lucky again to have Mr. Orbin with us, who is going to kindly take us through a range of items to do with drama. As some of you know now, we've got captions running at the bottom of the screen as well, so you can follow what's being said. They are automated by the Google AI, so if they're not 100% accurate, please forgive it, and yeah, just follow on and use it as best you can. As ever, we have wonderful Nisha controlling everything backstage. Thanks again, Nisha. How are you?
All good, thanks.
Brilliant. And yeah, Gary, I've shared your lesson, Gary, with several of the teachers just to show how flexible and easy it is to teach from an iPhone. So yeah, thank you so much for last week, and really looking forward to having you this week. And the floor, as they say, is yours, my friend.
Thanks very much, Leon. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. And hello, welcome back if you have seen the lessons last week. Then welcome back. If not, then feel free to start with today or to go back and watch last week's lessons, which I hope you'll have found helpful as well. What I'll do today, I'll share some slides with you. I'll try and do a bit of live teaching with you as well. And the focus today is going to be on writing for exam success. So, as I said in the videos last week, I can try and help you to be a better actor, director, writer, designer through these videos. But really, the main thing I can do is help you with your writing in particular. And if you want to go on and study drama into sixth form perhaps, or into university, or as long as you like, you need to be able to write about it really well. I think there's a different skill about writing in drama to there is writing in English. And my aim today is to help you think about what that looks like when you're writing about acting. Is how would you act? How would you perform this, for example? Okay, so even if you are quite a capable writer, then I hope this will help you think about what capable writing, brilliant writing looks like for drama in particular. And if you struggle with writing, then I hope this will just give you a really simple structure to help you access the best grades that you can for when you do return to school and start handing work in to your teachers for your drama, GCSEs or similar. Just move smooth. Here we are. Oh no, sorry, let me share my screen first. There's a little update about Arsenal, and we'll present the screen. Start the broadcasting. We're 3 seconds away from you seeing some slides, I believe, and a little okay from Leon. I'm pleased to confirm that you can see these slides here.
Yep, just moved on to your slides, buddy. Writing for exam success. Act.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. So, about acting and how quite a simple structure that anyone can learn can help you to access the highest grades possible. So, let's look at a potential exam question. Just go straight in there with what is this turned up. Don't worry about whether you know the play or not. It's about play with DNA, but this could be about any play you're studying. As an actor, how would you play the character of John Tate within this extract? So this is quite a sort of generic acting question, isn't it? You need to be able to understand, to know some key terms, and to be able to talk about how you would act a role. Okay? Clearly, an exam is a play that you would know. It's a character you would know inside out. Now, this for me is what the PEE structure, excuse me, looks like when you're answering acting questions. Okay, so your point. What acting skills are you using, and what are you trying to show? Okay, so my point might be, in order to show that John Tate is a leader, that's the point I'm trying to show, I would use my gesture and tone of voice, for example. Okay, and I think if you can mention 2 there, great, as long as you can write it well. If you want simple, stick with 1. If you can go a bit more complex in your writing, mention 2 there in your point. The worst things I read, where people miss the marks the most, is when they go straight into my gesture will be this, I'd smile in this line. No, hang on first. What are you trying to show? So in order to show that John Tate is a leader, or in order to show that John Tate is aggressive, think about what you're trying to show first, I would use my gesture and tone of voice, for example. In case you're just mentioning the acting skills in your point, but with no detail yet. Okay, so that's 1 concise sentence you've written there. That's great. You then move into your evidence. Okay, and that evidence, of course, is real detail about the acting skill. So you would add in you focus on 1 acting in particular, let's say gesture. I would use my gesture, I would hand, mum would be this shape, or my fingers would be out. So you might add in how other acting would also help to make the same point. So you might say, while my hand is moving in this sort of gesture, I would deliver the line in a sensitive and calm tone of voice or something. So you're starting to bring in how the acting skills are working together. And you'd refer to specific lines. You say on the line, hello, how are you? Whatever the line is. So that evidence there is one acting skill, some detail, maybe another one as well, and referring to a specific line or moment. Not just when playing John Tate, I would stomp around the stage, but on the line, blah, 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 I would act in this way. Okay, my gestures will be this, my tone of voice will be this. And then I'll give examples of all this in just a moment, but just do an overview first. So point, what acting skill am I using? What am I trying to show by using that acting skill in one sentence? Evidence, bit of detail about perhaps two acting skills related to a specific line. And then explain. What does explaining mean in drama? Well, in explain, you justify why making this point about the character is important. So you might say, if my point there is that this character, John Tate, don't worry if you know him or not, my character, John Tate, is a leader, well, I need to explain that it's important that I show that he's a leader. So I might say here's something like showing that he's a leader helps to communicate how bad it is when no one's going to speak to him anymore, for example. And then I analyse, bottom of the thing here, I analyse the impact it would have on the audience. Okay, so I talk about, for the audience, why does it matter, okay, that he's that we can see that he's a leader? So I might be saying, well, it's important, analyse the impact there. It's important for the audience to see this because they would lose any sympathy that they once had for him, or they would gain respect for the character, which is important throughout the play, that they like him or that they respect him. So there are things there that are important, but that's the structure essentially. PEE, structure related to drama. Okay, in summary there for PEE, what skill, what acting skill, and what purpose. Okay, so what acting skill I'm talking about and why. In my evidence, it's how it's acted, how my gestures look, how my tone of voice sounds, and on which line. And then on the explain bit, I'm justifying my point I made at the beginning. So it's important to show this because, and then I'm analysing the impact for the audience. In the explain bit, I would always mix the audience. By doing this, the audience will blah blah blah. That's my really simple guide to what a PEE structure looks like in drama. I hope you find it useful. This is the page in particular. Same section we looked at last week. So I won't go into detail. A reminder, we're looking at John Tate. Yeah, I'll just highlight sort of John Tate's lines here. So he says, up here, he says, right, this line here, it says, right, now, sorry, there you go, again, on the pen. Okay, he says, right, now I really am getting a little bit cross, do not use that word. And then he says, do not use that word, okay, no one. He says, you know, he says, don't say it again, Richard, or I'm gonna. Those are the 5 or 6 lines that he says there. That's the ones that we're going to sort of work through and think about how to answer this exam question. Okay, so I start with my point. All right, let's go back to point. Is about what skill am I using and why. So my point. Or I need to think about what do I want to say about John Tate. Okay, I can't start writing this question unless I know what I want to communicate to the audience. So the question, remember, is as an actor, how would you play the character role? So I'm going to say, well, he's a leader, he's aggressive, he's doubting himself. And I could split those into 3 different brilliant PE paragraphs if it was sort of a 12-mark or so question. If it was only a 4 or 6-mark question, I'd probably just pick one of those with some great detail. So what do you want to say? I want to say that he's a leader, firstly. Okay. And then if you remember in my point, I want to just name the acting skills. Back to here again. I want to name the acting skills that I'm using. Okay, so I've decided I want to say that he's a leader. And let's say I want to use gesture. And let's say I want to use tone of voice as well. Okay, so I've picked one from the physical skills list and one from the vocal skills list. There's no reason why you have to do that as well. But let's say I'm going to, but let's say I'm using gesture and tone of voice. I've then got one really great sentence there. One sentence to make my point in order to show the character of John Tate as a leader. As an actor, I would use gesture and tone of voice. Okay, it's simple. And that's a really great introduction that writes concisely and precisely. Just what exam boards like. They've been really concise, really short, You're not wasting words, but you're being really to the point, really precise as well. Okay, and that's really the point bit of your PE paragraph covered there. Dead simple. What you're trying to say, what are you going to use to show it? What are we trying to show, and what are you going to use to show it? Okay, so we'll get into the evidence now then, okay, which is where we go into a bit more detail about these things I've chosen, gesture and tone of voice. Right, I've given 3 examples. Just focus on the first one. So I'll make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so point there is that he's a leader. And you need to find a line to use as an example, okay? So we would go back to the script then, find a line that particularly shows that he's a leader. And in fact, let's do that now. Get rid of that, think about there. And I think it's the first line of this. So, right, that's, now I really am getting a little bit cross. Do not use that word. Okay, that's the line I want to use as my example of showing that he is a leader of this group. Okay, back to my evidence here. So, I want to show the leader. I've got my line here, I've picked it, I've used it as an example. And then gestures, there it is. Okay, so gestures and hands on people's shoulders and giving reassuring gestures. So he's not looking to be a bully and to intimidate people, he's looking to be a leader. So he's going to put his hands on people's shoulders, he's going to hold it there, he might pat them on that shoulder gently to sort of reassure that you're in safe hands here. Okay, and then tone of voice, it will be calm. It will be slow. It will be measured, as in it would be calm, really. So it's not, again, not trying to intimidate, shout, scream. My next point down there, if it was still is that he's aggressive. So I'll show that in another line in a moment. But for now, to show I understand the sort of depth of this character, we're going to talk about gestures being reassuring and tone of voice being calm and being slow and speaking it in a way that is quite composed, quite measured. Okay, and again, that could be just a couple of sentences there, really. Okay, moving on, let's get rid of that, to my explain section. This is hardest. Sometimes my students, they write their point really well, they give the evidence really well, but then they sort of think, what new is there to say? What haven't I said already? So this is the explain section here. And there's 2 things that I mentioned earlier. I want you to justify why it's important to make this point about its character and analyze the impact this has on the audience viewing your production of DNA. Okay, so why do we need to show that John Tate's a leader and what impact will that have on the audience? So the easiest way to think of this is to give an example, really. So just to take you through the whole structure. So far, point in red to leader, evidence, their gestures and tone of voice, which I would, of course, write into maybe 2 or 3 full sentences. And then a really concise, precise explanation here. Therefore, I'm going to justify why it's important to make this point. Okay, so it's important to show that John Tate is a leader because it provides a great contrast when he's no longer able to lead the group later in the play. Okay, so it's important to show that he's a leader because, and I show that I understand the whole play here, because later on in the play he isn't a leader. Okay, and that's powerful. And then the next, and that's one sentence. The next bit, analysing the impact this has on the audience viewing the production of DNA. So I'm bringing in the evidence. So bringing in my evidence here, the gesture and tone of voice. Okay, and that first bit in black there that you see is quite sort of English literature-y. It's quite a sort of English, I don't know what else you might do if you're analysing DNA for the purpose of English lit. But this next one here really is much more about drama. So using gestures and tone of voice in this way helps the audience to see how John Tate attempts to dominate the group through effective leadership skills before resorting to violence. Just bringing up a bit bigger just here. But the black line at the bottom there. I'll read it one more time. Remember, this is about what impacts that have on the audience. That's the thing to remember here, is even if you think that sentence is sort of quite that's quite grade 9, I suppose, if I say so myself, but the point is, say something about the impact it has on the audience. Using gestures and tone of voice in this way helps the audience to see. There's a great sentence starter, no matter what you say after that, to see how John Tate attempts to dominate the group through effective leadership skills before resorting to violence. As I say, ignore the second half of that sentence if it confuses you, but the first half is a great sentence starter for what that bit of explaining looks like. Okay, so that's the PEE structure here. Point is about with the acting skill of what you're trying to say. Evidence, and we will do this in future lessons for directing, for example, for questions about designing. But what acting skill are you using? What you're trying to show? Real detail about the acting skill, maybe 2 acting skills, referring to a specific line, and then 2 things to remember in the explain bit. Justify why making the point is important, and analyse the impact it would have on the audience. I hope that's really clear and helpful guide to how to write about drama, which is a sort of new skill for some GCSE students. Okay, what we've got time for now, I think, is to repeat this process, but to work through it a bit more together. So I've written Lou there, but it's cancelled Kathy, I do apologise. So let's just have a look at Kathy in the script first before I take you off the slides. So Kathy says a few things here. She's actually quite excited by how it's all going. She says things like, let's open that up there. She says, "This is mad, eh?" Okay. And the fact that someone's died, she's getting quite excited about it. She goes, "Talk about mad. I mean, it's quite exciting as well, though, isn't it?" And she says, "Better than ordinary life." So she's really not getting the seriousness. So she's thinking of this as something that's quite exciting. This is mad, eh? Talk about mad. It's quite exciting. And then don't say, and then better than ordinary life. Okay. So what do I want to say? Forgive the fact I've written Lou, please. I do mean Kathy. So what do I want to say about Kathy here? Well, I want to say that she's excited. Let's bring it back to me for a moment. Why don't we say, stop the broadcast there. She's trying to impress John Tate. So, turn on my camera again here, just a moment. There we go. So let's say that she's trying to impress John Tate. So my point bit there is that she's trying to impress, we'll just call him J-T, just for ease. She's trying to impress John Tate there. Okay, so I've made my point there, but I need to think of my point as well about one other thing. What's that? Yes, it is what acting skills I'm going to use to do that. So why don't we say in my point that I'm going to use gesture and pace. I'm not giving detail like this at the moment, but let's turn that way. But in my point here, I'm saying that she's trying to impress John Tate, and she's going to use gesture and pace in order to do that. Okay, so I've got my sense somebody's trying to impress John Tate. As an actor, I would use, we said their gesture and pace. That's my point right there. Okay, now we move on to the evidence bit, in which I need to pick a line and I need to say something about gesture and pace. Okay, so let's go in my evidence bit here, that I'm going to pick the line where she says it's quite exciting. Okay, the obvious thing would be to say, to make my point there, that she's excited, but let's make it a bit more interesting. The line is quite exciting. Let's imagine she's trying to impress John Tate. So what gesture could she do because she's trying to impress a boy? Well, let's say she's like twirling her hair, or twisting her hair there. And a sort of flirtatious, seductive sort of gesture there. So that's about gesture. And then about pace, I'd say to go with that, she's speaking quite slowly and seductively. It's quite slow and seductive in her voice there. So I've got my point in my evidence. She's trying to impress John Tate by using gesture and pace. Great. In my evidence, my line is quite exciting. And the things I'm going to say there about gesture and pace. Gesture, she's twisting her hair right here. And pace is slow and seductive. Okay, then we'll get back to our explain slide here. Okay, so justifying why it's important and then analysing the impact on the audience. Okay, so what I'm going to say here for my explain bit, well, we would say it's important to show that she's in awe of John Tate, because it sort of shows her manipulation, doesn't it? So in my explanation there, the first bit is about she can be manipulated. It's important to show that she's trying to impress John Tate here, because it makes sense when she's able to be manipulated a bit later in the play. And then also we might say, when I say the impact it has on the audience, well, the audience would see how much people can be taken advantage of in this play. So we'll refer here to this sort of seductive gestures show her ability to be manipulated. Okay, and there it is. There's one PE paragraph, an example that I've just worked there in front of you, about how the character of Kathy is in this production. In this extract, rather. Okay, just a couple of things to finish. We've got some links here, which is to 2 more videos related to DNA. So if you are going to write about DNA, then these are quite useful for you to learn a bit more about it. And that links to the task, which I'm suggesting for today. Okay, so write a PEE paragraph about Brian from page 49 to 52. And on the bottom here is a link to a PDF script, a version of the script. So thank you to whoever put that up there. And if you want to see to do this, then find the script, find page 49, read about Brian, help watching that video about the characters, themes, and plot. The previous one about characters, the themes and plot there will help you to know a bit more about the play. The question is the same one that we've talked through today as an actor, how to play the character Brian. And then I've given a little bit of guidance as to how to write in that PEE structure. You can write one fantastic grade 7, 8, 9 paragraph based on what we've gone through today, I'm sure. Now, haven't been counting the minutes, Leon, but I reckon we're about there.
You are exactly there, buddy. Exactly there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I hope that's been useful for people. We're back on tomorrow, and we'll do a bit more about, we'll use different plays to talk through and work through some examples of how to write really brilliant PEE paragraphs that should hopefully guarantee some really high grades and help you to write that drama really well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gary. I really enjoyed that one. Amira was actually sat making notes the whole time. Even though I'm an English teacher, I think she's finally understood what PEE is. So there you go. It's got to actually be linked to an English teacher. Got to be linked to something that she actually likes to do that. And can you see little Demon Gabriel in the corner there? That was unexpected and a tiny bit freaky. But yeah, thank you so much, buddy, and really look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. And Nish, it is over to you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thanks. So the optional task for drama today is, as Gary said, write a PEE paragraph about Brian from page 49 to page 52. That answers the question, as an actor, how would you play the character of Brian within this extract? So the PEE structure is there as well. I will put all the links and tasks on Facebook and on YouTube. And also, if you want to catch up on anything, there is a website here that if you go to join up in this top corner, when it loads, this happens every time. Just my internet. There is an access code that's me123 that is on this as well. And then if you just log in, you'll be able to access everything that we've had so far.
Thank you so much, Nish. What are you going to do for the rest of the day?
A little bit more work and then sit outside. It looks really sunny today. I know it's cold, but I think I just want to be in my garden.
What about the bees, Nish? What if the bees chase you?
I'll just hide from the bees. I'll run away.
All right, brilliant. We'll have a great. My kids are hula hooping and slime making and whatever else out there. So yeah, get out and do some stuff with them. Have a great day. Thank you so much for your help. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope they're of use. So you can see Gabriel just crawling around in the background. That's creepy little boy. And yeah, brilliant. I'll catch you tomorrow, my dear. Thank you so much.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.